Hey guys, welcome to our live chat. Although I guess right now, if you're hearing this, you're probably watching it on the replay. Make sure I've got the chat going right. It is December.
It is December.
No, it's our birthday month.
Ugh.
Why is that funny to you?
I'm halfway to 40.
You're not. I mean, you're much more than halfway. You're halfway through your 30s to 40.
Right, I'm halfway to the year 40.
Yeah. But I mean, technically 20 would be halfway to 40.
Between 30 and 40.
Yeah.
Which is only what matters.
Oh, hey, Stivers. Hey, April. Amy Bullock. Old Reading Farm. Black Dog Apiary. The Wyatt Life. Hey, Walterman. Oh, hey, Susie Borden. Our Daily Homestead Life. How are you? Mama Tried Homestead. Oh, how's everybody doing? Hey, A Good Life Farm. North Star Prep Center, what is up? Oh, wow. Thank you, Black Dog Apiary and Farm. I appreciate that super chat so much. It is December. Garden for Cheap said, try being almost 50, Maya.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's both of our birthday months. That's what we were just talking about for those of you just coming in. Our Thanksgiving was really good. It was really, really good. We're going to talk a little bit more about Thanksgiving here in a little while. I guess I haven't posted a vlog since Thanksgiving. Wow, KRS Grace, thank you so much for that. You guys are being super sweet to us with those super chats. Paying for those Christmas gifts, of which we have lots to buy. Thank you. Lou Lunsford said, how about almost 60? Thank you.
It's not a competition,
Tina.
guys. It's not a competition.
Wow, a foot of snow, North Star Prep Center. That's crazy.
Oh.
Hey, Talking Threads Media, how are you? Even the Sparrow, I love that name. Even the Sparrow Homestead. Simply Jan, I'm skipping a lot. I can't. Madge the Gardener says, I tell my students I'm 144 and they believe me. When I was substitute teaching, I was in my early 20s. There was a little while when I was a single mom after my divorce that I was a substitute teacher. And I guess I would have been like 23 or 24. I mean, I was really young. And I was subbing like middle school, 7th and 8th graders. And I was substitute teaching at the school where I had gone to middle school. And I mean, it hadn't been that long. It had been like 10 years since I was there. And it was this old, broke down school. And I would be there and I'd be like, yeah, I used to go here. And the students were like, oh, was it new then? I'm like, no, it wasn't new then. The school hasn't been new in 70 years. How old do you think that I am? But whenever you're a teenager, like everybody is old. Thank you, Brooke. Goodness gracious. You guys are coming out the gate with some kindness up in here.
Yeah, well, Jackson and his friends tried to call us boomers.
Yeah, the whole boomer thing. Like,
listen,
we had teenagers here.
Which is, I mean.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, boomer. I'm like, do you know what that means?
You're so far removed from the accurate use of all of that. Like,
hey, Goldshaw Farm, what's up, man? So, awesome. Our Daily Homestead Life. Actually, can you pull up our Berkey link? We've got our link.
I can just pull it off of the video. Yeah,
that'd be fun. Our Daily Homestead Life said, thanks for letting you know about the Berkey sale. I'll share our link. It's still going for, I think, 7 more days. But if you do decide to purchase one, we really appreciate you going through our link. That is like super beneficial to us. Yeah, we are millennials, plants and passion. I'm definitely a millennial. We're barely. I think they kind of debate on whether the millennial generation starts at those born in like 81 to 83, but we're 84 and 85. So we fall in the parameters of that pretty much every time. So I love being a millennial. I think the millennial generation is a beautiful generation. I think every generation has its purposes and its strengths and its weaknesses. And I love my generation. Yeah, Big Bear, Gen X.
Okay.
There's another one that they say is like a micro generation. I can't remember what they call it. Is it Xennial or something like that? That's kind of like that few years right before millennials, because it was kind of a generation that kind of towed the line. Yeah, Isabel, that's it. Anyway, I think it's I think that is really amazing. So I love Morgan. How old are you? Are you? I thought that we were about the same, but I don't know. Yeah, I think it can be a way to pin people against each other, Josh. I also think that we should celebrate people. I personally am kind of the stance that like I love diversity. I love the differences of people. And my personal belief is, and this is very strongly rooted in my faith, but like I feel like the diversity of mankind is such a picture of the vastness of God. And so I just love people who are different from me, because I feel like if we're all made as image bearers, that just must mean that the face of God has so many facets that it needs such diversity to like show it. And so I love to just like different generations and the different things. I love to understand like the psychology behind it. And I just love different cultures. I think that people are fascinating. I seriously was sitting in my car yesterday and it's like all this traffic, and I had to take my kids to a birthday party. And I was just like, I don't know. I guess I was kind of in my feels about, I don't even know what. I just get in my feels sometimes because I just love being alive. And like, I was looking at all these people driving their cars and they're just going about their business. And I was like, I love people. I was seriously looking at them. I'm like, you guys are awesome. Look at all these beautiful people. And they're just like driving. Some of them are angry in traffic. I'm like, yeah, you're so beautiful. I just love you.
Wesley Newman lives in that Texas town, Port Neches, where the chemical plant exploded like yesterday or the night before.
I don't know about this.
I saw the explosions. Some people had
Westland. I didn't know that. I have not seen that. Some people what? What
had saying? Like their cameras going on their houses and saw it like.
Wow.
And then it blew up again. It had like 2 secondary explosions. It was bad. I don't know. I haven't watched the news because I don't watch the news, but I saw it. Sort of.
I think I actually am kind of a stereotypical millennial. Actually, like
what's the sale for the Berkey? Someone's asking. You get a bunch of extra stuff and it's discounted, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's a good sale. I mean, I've kept up with their prices and it's a pretty good sale. It depends on what size you buy, like how much the discounts are and like the free stuff you get with it. So it's kind of hard to sum up, and you'll just have to go look at it. But we posted our link and it's amazing. The sale's really good, and so. Yeah, Jane. Well, we actually just started like 11 minutes ago. So you not only caught us, you caught us like in time to hang out. So we're glad you're here. Do we still have Thanksgiving leftovers?
No.
Really? We have some pie.
Yeah, that's not really Thanksgiving leftovers, is it?
It's Thanksgiving pie leftovers. So
no, this year it was a lot smaller of a Thanksgiving because my family wasn't here, and we just kind of downsized what we were cooking normally, and so there was less quantities, and it's fine. Like we had leftovers, like I did, but there wasn't like a large amount, which is honestly okay because a lot of times we end up throwing out. It's too much to eat, even after like a couple of days. So I'd rather not waste it anyway. So it was good. We ate good dinner, and then we had good plate of leftovers. At least I did. And then that was all.
Did you get your bread pudding? Someone asked.
Yes, that was great. That was actually one of the best parts of the whole day.
Oh, there's Cousin Amy. She said it was great and delicious. Cousin Amy came. We had Thanksgiving together.
Now, Jessica did take some leftover turkey and make this quiche. And then I took some leftover cranberries and smothered it in it. And man, it had like cranberry turkey quiche. It was great. That was a great use of leftovers.
Yeah.
I ate half the quiche.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Westland, the Shindig video will be out this week with the details about it and like the registration, all that stuff. Ezra is doing okay. He's soaking up the special treatment. For those of you who don't know, Jeremiah posted a picture on Instagram, but we actually haven't. I haven't posted a vlog the last few days. But Ezra broke his arm on the trampoline the other day. It's a minor fracture in his elbow. It's actually in like a temporary cast, and we have to go to like an ortho specialist this week. But it shouldn't need surgery. It wasn't like it wasn't a major break. They couldn't actually even see the fracture on the x-ray, but because of the amount of swelling, they said that there had to have been a fracture for it to be that way. So yeah, we're super excited for the Shindig. Simply Jan, we'll have all that stuff. We'll have all the information for people to sign up for all of that. There's like, we have to get some way to streamline it so we can keep it all in order. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that kind comment. Cool, Susie. I hope that they liked it. She said her girls made quiche from my video this morning. Hey, Country Homestead Preacher. How are you? Yeah, Cassandra, I would like to do some seed packets on a Christmas tree. I actually haven't put any on this Christmas tree, but you just reminded me about it. I've forgotten about it. So maybe I'll pull some out and string them up and put them on the Christmas tree. I think that would be a good thing to do. How do you propagate your seeds? I have a video about seeds starting. As far as like propagating from cuttings and stuff, I don't think I've done like a specific video about that, but I do have a video all about seed starting. I see someone saying hi to Papa Pepper. I don't see. Oh, there he is. Hey, Papa Pepper. When do you plan to do your 2020 garden plan? Ordered so many from last year's list. I'm anxious to add to my collection. I actually am going to Baker Creek next week. I was going to go a few weeks ago and had to reschedule it, but I'm going next week, and I want to get their new catalog and kind of see what they have that's new and kind of like put my feelers out for what else is new. And then I'm going to start going through. I'm actually going to do like a video of like my full seed collection. I was hoping to wait until we have the basement room done because we're going to kind of move everything in there. And so I'm going to do a video of that. And then from that is probably whenever I'll go through and make my plan for next year. I'll be releasing the video with all of the information about the Shindig this week. I just got the links from Ben Vinson yesterday for like registration and all that stuff. So now I can put that video out. Yeah, I'm so excited for Baker Creek's new catalog. They have started getting the catalogs, but they like get them all in and then they ship them out. So I don't know when they're going to start arriving to people. Some. I think they have shipped some, but they just like, they have to go through the list. So. Oh man, Morgan, the best seeds of the 2010s. Guys, it's about to be the 20s. Can you like wrap your head around that? Like my kids are going to talk about being like 20s kids. That's going to be what they say. They're going to talk about growing up in the 20s. Is that nuts? Like that's just totally crazy to me. When I first like realized that, my mind was just completely blown. A new decade. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And like, it's just really cool to me. I don't know. It's really put into perspective, that my parents grew up hearing their grandparent, their grandparents were born in the late 1800s. And like, I don't know. I read this thing. I can't remember where I read this recently. And it said that an Englishman thinks 100 miles is a long way and an American thinks that 100 years is a long time. And I thought that is so true. Like our friends, we were here from Australia a few weeks ago. We were down in Texas and we're like, hey, let's go eat at this restaurant. And we drove an hour to get there. And they were just like, this is too far. And we're like, what are you talking about? Like we drive an hour to go places all the time. Like this is not a big deal. Like to us, like, I mean, we'll drive hours to go like to church service somewhere, or we'll drive hours to go hang out with friends. Like it's not that big of a deal to us, but to them it was crazy. And they're like, yeah, back home, if it's more than just a few hours away, you fly. And I was like, really? But I don't know. I talked to my friends that are from like the UK and from places where you can literally go and see buildings that are 400 or 500 years old. Like here where we live, I mean, the city I grew up in was founded in 1956. And so like there are not a lot of old houses. That old buildings are like 100 years old. There's not a lot of history. Did you say anything to respond to?
Up. Yeah.
Oh, I missed that one. Kimberly Mossman said, any recommendations on getting my tomatoes to turn red? Is now when I need to add the aspirin. The aspirin spray is really like I usually add that just like I add that periodically, like maybe every couple of weeks, which kind of adds like this mild stress on the plant. So yeah, I mean, like if you've got green tomatoes on the plant, now would be a good time to do that. As far as getting them to turn red, I've never had any issue with them not doing that in time. It does take a long time. Like it takes a lot longer than it feels like it should, but it actually takes from when your plant sprouts to setting fruit. It actually takes as long for it to ripen that fruit as it does take it to set it. It can take 30 to 45 days for fruit to ripen. And so it feels like forever, but it probably will just happen in the right time. I talk about aspirin spray in a video about growing tomatoes. It's just something I had read in a book once that talked about basically, salicylic acid being the synthetic of a hormone that's put off by plants that basically signals to it's basically the chemical that the plant puts off when it's under attack by like pests or stress from just circumstantial stress. And it produces basically what salicylic acid is, the synthetic of that, what we take in painkillers. And the plant produces that and it can ramp up the flavor is basically what I had read, which I thought was kind of interesting. Ben discovered. I love that. I'm glad that you're growing. Oh, hey, part-time permies. What's up? Wow, No Dough Acres, built in 1937. We stayed at the Airbnb at HOA, like the original part. Yeah, the original part of that house was
1730s.
Was built in the 1700s. That's why I love going over the East Coast, because it's just fascinating to me, because where we live, there's just not history like that. Like we don't have like the oldest buildings really in Arkansas for the most part are like the early 1900s, like because this wasn't settled in the 1700s. So it's just really fascinating to me to go to places where there are like 100, 200-year-old barns all over the place. That's just nuts because we just don't see that here. Hey, Living Miracle Homestead. Hey, Two Family Homestead. What's up? Yeah, if you guys have questions, if you don't mind, put them in all caps so we can make sure that we see them. 2 bees, 1 flower. That's really interesting.
No piglets yet.
No piglets yet.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
She still definitely looks close.
Yeah. Madge the gardener. That sounds awesome. Y'all might get snow tonight, Stivers. That's crazy. I wish we had snow. Snow White Benson. Our farmhouse was built in 1891. That's awesome. Our house was built in 1985. So definitely not old enough to be valued for antiquity. Advice for in-ground gardening. Kate Huffman, I have not done a ton of in-ground gardening, but I suggest you go watch everything that Charles Dowding has because he is thebomb.com and he gardens in the ground with no dig and compost. And I think he's like the king of gardening.
Jason said to send him some pictures of the pig.
Definitely. I'm getting nervous that she's just not pregnant. I think she must be because she's like, her teeth have gotten really big. And then I thought the other day, well, what if whenever I saw that she was swollen and like her teeth were looking larger, what if she was just like in heat? But then
I don't know.
Then again, that was just like,
honestly, if she's not pregnant, maybe we should just eat her because her. But I'm saying her belly if it looks like it's pregnant, it means it's got a lot of bacon in it.
Stop it.
If she's not actually pregnant.
Yeah. We're not eating her. I already named her. Her name's Clementine.
Also, that black one has black fur, not gray fur.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you worry about getting threats?
What kind of threats?
Well, they said that I guess that happened to the Stivers. They were very brave.
What threat?
Yeah, I have not. I mean, there is a factor of doing YouTube that is not fun. But the good outweighs the bad. And I don't know about the Stivers threats. I know that I had talked to them about recently about like dealing with negativity. But yeah. We have gotten some threats. We've had to deal with some ugliness being on YouTube. But
yeah, it's part of it.
But definitely the good has outweighed the bad.
And people's intentions, I think, a lot of times are good.
The Wyatt Life. I'm built a hoop house out of all free materials. Do you have any suggestions?
Oh, so you guys are awesome.
Thank you so much for your super chat. I think, are you asking
suggestions
that you're like
what?
Wanting to build a hoop house or that you did? Yeah, like what suggestions are you looking for? Because I would like to answer that.
Like a hoop greenhouse or like hoops over like in-ground gardening? What are you talking about?
Don Morris, we've really enjoyed the pineapple ground cherry. I got for some seeds for a couple different varieties.
Molly's was fine.
Yeah, they tasted very similar, but I'm going to try some new. Talking about who would threaten, I mean, I don't know why people do what they do. One thing that I've really seen through YouTube is that a lot of people are just broken. And the thing is that you encounter broken people regularly. Like you encounter people who are rude to you at the grocery store and who flip you off in traffic or whatever. Like you encounter broken people. Being in YouTube, we're exposing ourselves to a lot more people. And so we encounter a lot more broken people. And so, I mean,
he built the hoop house. He wants suggestions on what to grow in it
for cold. Okay. For the cold. Well, brassicas. So anything that falls in the brassica family, which is kales, cabbages, broccolis, collards. You could grow collards in there, Brussels sprouts, those kinds of things. I mean, it depends if you're building it, like if you're trying to grow in the ground in it or if you're growing in pots. But like I love growing kale inside like that in that sort of situation. In the winter, lettuces, any sort of lettuces are going to be really good. And you can do the whole like soil bag thing if you're needing to grow it in a container. That would and radishes, you could grow radishes in there would be a really good thing.
Someone asked if you're going to write a book on gardening or homesteading.
Yes, I am. Hey, there's Murray McMurray Hatchery.
Murray McMurray Hatchery, once you name an animal as first time, something happens to. Well, I'll tell you right now, if she can't produce kids, that's exactly where she'll end up.
We also...
Bless her heart.
Do you guys have a podcast? No, we do not have a podcast.
I don't know. If we had a podcast at all, it would have to be Benjamin's podcast.
I've thought about doing a podcast to talk about like faith-based stuff, but as far as my list of to do right now, it's my to-do list is this long, and like here's the cutoff of what actually is possible to get done, and the podcast is below that line right now. Wow, thank you, Elspeth Rumble. You guys are really, it's just so funny that we get on tonight and you guys start sending us all these super chats.
What is your family's favorite Christmas tradition?
What is your favorite Christmas tradition? Amy.
She's being retarded.
He said Murray McMurray. Wow, you're so famous. That's hilarious. Murray McMurray is an awesome family-run business, and there are real people behind it. They're really amazing. You're curious about my faith, Amy Jones. You said I've asked a couple of times, but I think they've gotten missed. What are you curious about?
Favorite Christmas tradition.
Black Dog Apiary. I'm pretty sure Murray McMurray's hatchery comes out, or catalog comes out at the end of December. Is that right? Do you know when they're putting that out?
Because we already have it.
Yeah.
So I don't remember when it comes out.
Do you think about the Christmas tradition? I'll answer.
I don't know. Probably
faith.
going to see Crazy Santa Claus's house.
Yeah, let me get to that. I want to answer this question before I lose it. So we are born again Christians. We believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that He is seated on the throne of our lives. And I believe the Bible, namely that the kindness of God is the way to repentance. And so my heart is to love people well, because that has been the example that has been shown to me through Christ. And so that's really, I guess, the basis of my faith. I have zero desire to argue about doctrine or anything like that, because I think so many people get completely lost in that. And so, basically my goal and drive is to be kind and to live a life in devotion, because I've just encountered the love of God in such a tremendous way in my life that I don't live in like question about like whether God is real or any of that stuff. Like that has been made solid to me. And so I've just been convinced of the righteousness of Christ and the love of God. And so basically and there are things that I believe, but really I have found that walking out my own convictions really keeps me busy enough that I pretty much just worry about my own convictions. Yeah, Amy, I'm really excited to start some new Christmas traditions. So Jeremiah was mentioning, okay, first off, Murray McMurray said their catalog will be out around Christmas. If you have not already ordered your catalog from Murray McMurray, definitely put in your request. We do have a copy of it already. And
Tom and his wife and Murray McMurray will be at the Shindig.
Yes, they're coming. They're going to be one of the sponsors of the Shindig. And we already have our catalog. It's thebomb.com. I've already made a list of my spring chicks, and
we need to send that to them.
I haven't nailed it down yet because I asked Jeremiah, I was like,
we have space for, hold on, I'm talking push the coop to the limit, 65. We currently have 30. Right? She makes a list of 75 chicks. Y'all tell me what's going on here. Listen, Jessica is great at gardening, cooking, joy, preaching. I mean, listen, the things that she is good at.
But math is hard.
The things that she is good at is uncalculable. And the reason it's uncalculable is because she stinks at math horribly. Horribly bad. But it's okay. We can't all be good at everything. If she was good at math, like the pride would take root. And we have to uproot that pride.
Oh, that was not a case of I can do basic math. I can add.
Apparently.
I can add. Chicken math, however, sometimes overrules actual
logical math. Oh.
And like the rules that you learn, like.
Is that too many chickens is bad?
That's not true. So that's not true. Yes, they have geese.
You guys are a bunch of enablers.
They are. Oh, thank you, Rebecca.
Fist
we
bump.
appreciate it. The shindig is April. Is it 3rd and 4th? It's the first Friday and Saturday in April. We are planning on going to the HOA in 2020. You know, that's in the plans for us. We have some stuff up in the air that we don't 100% know what this year is going to look like, but we know we're doing the shindig for absolute certain.
That's the only thing that we're guaranteed.
Yeah.
Someone said, just bought first load of 10 for raised beds. Where can I get wood like yours? Look for a cedar mill. That's where we got it. And essentially what the wood is the first trim off of a round log, and they can't use it to make square wood. And so they stack them up in big piles and sell them real cheap. That's what I would do.
Naturally NC, yes, I have definitely brought home
Kelsey
chicks.
Whitworth. Kelsey Whitworth, she's bringing some reasonable questioning. Why so many chickens? Just curious. Why so many chickens? That's a good question.
Well,
be nice. Kelsey's just asking a simple question.
I just really love chickens. I love all the different colors of eggs. I love hodgepodge. I like a mix of things. And so there are so many different kinds of chickens. And I just want to experience all of them. They're great. And I want to have them all. I want to give them names. And I just love them. And sometimes I've been known to go a little overboard on animals. I'm going to pare back the list. And to be fair, I know that I put 75 on the list. But all the chickens we have now are mostly all of them old. So I probably need to get some new ones. We don't have bird predator issues with hogs. We really don't have very many. We don't have a lot of predators with hogs, but we do have a lot of like possums and raccoons and stuff like that. Those are the predators that we have to deal with.
We also will be we are definitely getting turkeys with this order.
Yes.
And possibly
and
some
we're gonna do meat chickens. We're gonna do our first round of meat chickens.
Yes.
And then we're gonna start our heritage turkey flock.
Yes.
And then we're going to get basically the chickens I'm getting now. I'm gonna cycle out my older chickens and then bring in new ones. And when they start laying, I'll basically. How old is an old chicken? Some of the chickens I have are like I have some that are like 4. And then some of the other ones that we got from some friends, they were already like 2.5. And then we have some that were already 1 when we got them. So an old chicken is like 3 to 4. They stop laying pretty significantly. Like their laying goes down a lot. Like younger chickens definitely lay more. I like all the breeds. I do. How can you protect against possums and raccoons? Our method of doing that is we just have a really safe coop that critters cannot get into, and we just make sure it's closed up at night. That has been enough for us. My chickens are not laying well right now. No.
Need to get a light out there.
Yeah, we've never put a light in the coop before in the winter. Because I like giving them the break, but our chickens like didn't lay for like the second half of the summer for one reason or another, and so we were talking about possibly putting a light out there.
And it wasn't mites.
Yeah, it wasn't mites. It was just
laziness.
I guess heat. No, I think it was just heat and then molting and all that stuff.
Adding a light to the coop will stimulate them to keep laying because, as far as they're concerned,
not a heat lamp. I won't put a heat lamp out there.
Just a light lamp.
Just like Christmas lights, like hanging a strand of Christmas lights. Basically, that can basically fool their
internal clock,
their system, and thinking that there's more light. Basically, they stop laying when there's not as much light in the day. Some people's chickens lay all winter.
Some people don't,
and some don't. Hey, the Honeystead, how are you?
What does cycle out mean?
Somebody,
eat them?
You can eat them. We actually have not ever eaten old hens. We actually, that's because I'm not.
We take them to an assisted chicken living place.
No, we don't. We go sell them to people who eat them. That's what I've done. I just haven't done it. Am I going to talk more in my videos about how me and my family use oils? Yeah, I mean, I've talked some about it. And I'm trying to really build like kind of a community, like a Facebook group and a place where I can really teach a lot about oils. That's kind of my plan. What kind of quail do we have? We have a mix of quail, but we're actually getting rid of them. I've not grown asparagus, Joanne. I wish I had planted it when I first got here. We should all just plant asparagus like right away, because if you just go ahead and plant it, then you'll have it in 3 years. 3 years feels like a long time in the future, but 3 years in the past, not so long. Let me see. Hold on. Okay. Did Amy just post it? I think, okay. Amy just posted the essential oils. Let me see. Did I just close that up here? No, I didn't. Okay, yeah, that's right. She just posted the essential oils group. It's a Facebook community. I use Doterra essential oils, and I'm a wellness advocate for that. So, is Santa Claus a Jedi?
I don't think so.
What vegetables will actually sprout now really depends on where you're at, on whether you're going to get any germination. Most vegetables need at least like a little bit of heat to germinate. And so right now it really just depends on where you're at. What Michaela Mills, who painted the picture of bear, asked, what did you think of that?
Nice picture of bear. It was actually really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
In the photo, when you were holding it by the piano, it's hard to tell if he was sitting on the piano or were you holding it.
What are the best growing lights for starters? I have some from, what is it, Harvest? Darn it, I can't remember what it is right now off the top of my head. The ones I have are like these square ones. I need to make a video about it.
Hey, Kaylee, just so you know, that black female Mangalitsa's fur or hair's coming in and it's black, not gray.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Like you said that wasn't possible.
She did say it was possible. She said it was unusual.
Well, then she's unusual, I guess.
Harvest Grow Lights. Thank you, Green Zebra Gardening. That's what it is. Harvest Grow Lights. I think that's it. How can you tell when a purple cherry tomato is ripe? Just squeeze it. Jenny, yes, we love doTERRA oils. We're using a lot of On Guard right now. I've been diffusing it in the house because it helps with.
Just got my quail. Why are you guys getting rid of y'all's?
Just because
not our thing.
They're just not our thing. I think quail are great. I think they're a really great option, especially if you have like limited space. But with having as many chickens as we do, we tend to use their eggs more.
And let me explain something to you. This will help every homestead out here if you haven't heard this before. Okay. Just because you got into something and started it or whatever, don't just stick with it because it's okay to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. This isn't my thing.
Like we don't raise
I'm not going to keep this going. I'm going to step away. I'm going to, settle my accounts and close everything down. And that's okay. Don't take on shame. Don't take on condemnation. You're not a failure. Like that's just
thank you,
the process.
Green Zebra Gardening, Hidden Harvest Grow Lights. That's it. There's the link to their channel, the Hidden Harvest Grow Lights. I like that.
It's okay. Rabbits are not our thing. Quail are not our thing. We miss our turkeys. I want to do meat birds. These are the things we're going to get into. I love my bees. I'm glad I got into them. If I decide, hey, you know what, bees really aren't our thing. I'm not liking, saying it's not working for us. I might get out of bees. I don't think it's going to happen. But,
yeah, it's crazy.
I used to take on so much shame being like, oh my gosh, we failed at rabbits. We're the worst rabbit keepers ever. It's so bad. And it's like, no,
I would feel
rabbits
like,
is not for me.
Yeah, and I would feel, Xavier, homesteading is not a competition. I would feel like I was like a bad homesteader, like, oh, we didn't do well at this. But then really, you don't have to do everything. And our thing has always been like, are we doing this well? Are we enjoying this? Is this producing what we want it to? Is this bringing us joy? Is this giving us either food or fulfillment in some way? But like,
and maybe come around to it again at some time if you feel like it.
Yeah, because there are different seasons in your life.
Like, honestly, we have a rabbit again. Now, it's not a meat rabbit.
Yeah.
But we have a rabbit.
Yeah. And so it's definitely, you have to find, like, I love goats. I can't, here's what's crazy. I can't imagine not having goats. I really, really like my alpacas. I think that they're really awesome. But like for instance, we got out of turkeys for a little while and we really missed them. And we're like, we really want to do turkeys again. I have not grown rhubarb or sugar beets. Both of those are things that I would really like. Remember, yes, North Star Prep Stutter. It's not failure. If, like when you receive a lesson from it, you didn't fail. Like you might not have had, you might not have had success in like a traditional sense, but it's not necessarily a failure.
Someone was like, they raise quail for meat birds. And I know people in this area that do it and have had great success at it and love it. I just don't think we're going to.
Coral Moore said, I need Maya saying, don't take on shame, don't take on condemnation. You're not a failure. It's just the process as a poster on my wall. That's life right there, guys. Like that right there. Don't take on condemnation. Don't take on shame. You're not a failure. It's just the process. You can apply that, yes, in homesteading. You can apply that in marriage, in parenting, in friendship, in your workplace, in everything that you do in your life. Like, we have a choice on whether we're going to put on the chains of condemnation and shame or walk out our process and be made better by things. And
depends on someone said, how long does it take to raise out a turkey? That depends on the breed. If you're doing
Absolutely.
a broad-breasted white, I think 20 weeks is accurate. If you're doing
a heritage breed, there's no way. But that's like that with chickens too. I mean, like you can raise up a Cornish cross in like 8 weeks, whereas in 18 weeks, a heritage breed it's not going to be very meaty. Yeah. I have, we were talking recently, we're coming up on 6 years of being here and doing the homestead thing. And I've had a lot of people ask me lately, like, do you stand by the statements you made in the past when you talk about like your mistakes? And like, absolutely. And here's my thing that like, I just want everybody to understand, like, I might say right now, I will always have goats. And in 3 years, I might not have goats. I think I'll always have goats. I really love goats. But you know what? Down the road, we may get a cow and decide we don't want to have goats anymore. And that's okay. Like, I reserve the right to make the decisions for my life in the future, and not be chained on what I thought I wanted right now. Like, we grow and we change and our circumstances grow and change and we learn lessons and we get knocked off the horse and we decide to try again. And the wonderful thing is that we feel the freedom to make the decisions that we feel like we need to make, without fear. Like, we've had to let some things go. We've had to try, we've had to face disappointment. We've had to do all of those things, but there's a process. It's all part of the process. That is, well, I guess you could if you wanted to.
I mean, at some point, or what's the point of waiting?
I don't want to cry.
Okay.
So I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go for it, homie.
So, in talking of like what we're talking about, like, I just feel like it might be the right time to Tobias, that's not the right time, buddy. Just bless him. Like, he comes at the exact wrong time to get what he's asking for. It's like, can I have dessert? No, not right now. All right, so
we have ducks, Kaz.
We do have 6 ducks. So let's see. So a couple of weeks ago, it's like, I don't know. No, it was at the beginning of the month. So towards the end of October, keep that part short because I don't like being mean to people. But essentially, the person we were leasing the 90 acres from decided to not continue it after October. And so we had a decision to make. We've already extended and pushed our current 7-acre property to the limit with the alpacas, goats, and pigs. And we had nowhere to put the horses. And I mean, we went back and forth on it, really thought about it, prayed about it, talked about it. And what we ended up deciding was that as much as we would like to keep them, that it wasn't what was best for them because we could not put them back on our property. It would not be healthy for them. And if we had to find a lease far away, it was going to be really hard to find the time to be able to get out there. And honestly, I probably could have worked out something to keep them fed and healthy, but I was not going to be able to find time, especially with them being further away, to go and work them and do those kinds of things. And so what we ended up deciding to do is we actually got with our friends Pine Knot, and they have horses themselves. They have a young guy that's getting into a horse business himself as far as training them and finding them good homes. And so we actually rehomed our horses, which was very hard, and had to say goodbye to them at the beginning of November. And the thing is that, I sat down with Jessica and said, okay, do we get rid of all of except one? What do we do? And the thing is that, we came to terms with is that there'll be other horses. Like God told us and helped us get those horses. It taught us a lot. Like, honestly,
it was a sweet fulfillment for Jeremiah's mom. That's something that she always wanted, was to have horses. So getting to have them before she died was really a
big thing. And, I'll miss them. And honestly, they'll always be our first horses. But it was okay that, honestly, they were going to go to a good place. They were going to go to places that have the time. And guess what? The way our life has gone this last year, like, I did not have near the amount of time that is due horses of that quality.
And basically, it came down to it, and we felt like the best thing to do with our current property and the time that we had was to keep the space given to our alpacas and keep them. And then because we had the opportunity to send the horses to a place that was good for them, basically we have this big yard. It's not really a pasture. It's like 1.5 acres that we could have put them on and fed them hay, but their health would have deteriorated. And they were healthy and in great shape coming off that 90 acres. And it was the best chance for them to have good care was to go ahead and go now. And so Pine Knot, actually, I think Pine Knot kept Luke.
They're keeping.
And
if it doesn't work out, then they're going to let us know, and we'll probably take Luke back, which was Jessica's horse. And Cyrus and Maverick went to their friend, who's a younger guy, who's kind of honestly, I talked with him when he came to pick them up, and I felt very comfortable.
The thing is he had the capacity to work them and get them back, because we hadn't ridden them in a while. And so it was really hard. Goodness gracious, I do not want to cry on here. The morning after they left, I sat down at the window, and my piano overlooks the garden, and then the pasture where the horses were is right behind there, and they always were up by the fence in the morning. And, it really hit me that they were gone then. And it's hard. It is really hard sometimes to make decisions, and we have not put this in a video. We have not talked about it because obviously I'm not really feeling super hot about talking about it. But, I wish I had something really awesome to say.
You do have something really awesome to say. It's what we talked about in the beginning. And this is the truth of it. We were kind of just being like, well, we could pay the money, like I said, to keep them fed and find pasture. We had talked to the Vincents about letting them have some piece of their land, and they said that they could work that out and all this stuff. We could have made it happen
could
and
have held
funneled
the
the
door
resources
open.
and held the door open. And the thing is like
right.
the reason that we were going to do that is because we didn't want to feel like failures. We didn't want to feel like we messed up, but that, you know, we missed the opportunity to have horses and to train them and for it to be a tradition in our family to have horses that we ride and all that. And the reality is that that's not what happened. Like God definitely very clearly used that. And here's the biggest thing that the horses did for us is we never believed that we were of the quality of people financially to own horses. Like, honestly, like we never thought that was obtainable because horses are expensive. And going through the process with God of him, like even when we were struggling financially, of him like sending help and sending blessings to take care of them. Like he provided for them the whole time. And so like it really helped shifted us out of a poverty mentality when we didn't have money that God would provide for these horses because it mattered. And it really helped us understand like now they're going on to a place, but the thing is there will be more horses. We will be at a place when we have more land and we can get horses again. And, you know, and that's okay. And the reason I brought it up is just because I felt like, you know, this was the time to be like, really drive home. Just because we have to step away from something or just because you decide like, you know, you make these hard decisions about stuff on the homestead, like you're not a failure. It's sad. And
yeah, I mean, you're allowed to be sad.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to
like
stuff
when
your feelings.
There's loss and whenever you cannot proceed with something, like I tell people this, like when people feel like their garden's failed, I'm like, you can be disappointed and you can be sad, but like move forward. I killed a lot of gardens. I mean, I got a tray of half-dead microgreens on the counter right now. Like, I still regularly will kill plants and make mistakes. But you have to keep moving forward. And the thing is, like what Maya said, like the thing that we've really been experiencing in the last year and a half, just to be completely transparent, is that, like God has really just been coming after a lot of our mindsets that are wrong. Just we get so limited in our mind and we just stay limited in our lives because of it. And if we could come into actual understanding and be convinced through the Holy Spirit of what God says, like it breaks the limits off of our lives. And like we really came to the conversation, you know, I was feeling like we needed to, like basically I was feeling whenever I found out we lost the lease and that the guy didn't want to lease the property, you know, immediately you go into like problem solving mode and you start trying to figure out how can I make this work? And we could have stretched our finances to try to hold the door open, but it would have cost us a tremendous amount of money because boarding horses is expensive. And finding other property would have been expensive. It would have been time consuming to have them further away from our house. And, you know, I'm doing that and I really felt like we're going to have to do something about this. And I was kind of like having to come to terms with the idea of letting them go. And he actually didn't want to suggest it. And I actually brought it up and said, do you feel like we're supposed to rehome them? And he said, you know, I thought about it, but I didn't want to suggest it. And we together had to talk about it and be like, why are we so afraid of,
I mean, God clearly got us those horses, and it's like, do we not believe that when it's time
backcountry homestead preaching,
that he could do it again? And sometimes, you know, it's
that's so good.
What?
Homesteading is not growing the ground around you; it's allowing the ground to build you.
See, and that's why me and Tom are friends.
You don't even know if that is Tom.
No, I got a text message that said it was Tom. Or it's my Jedi mind trait. So we are horseless right now and dealing with it. And like I said, it's been a month now. And we're doing okay. I'll tell you what, it has been nice not having the financial and responsibility in this season with what's going on. Like, that's been good.
I mean, it's been good timing for it.
We're not stressing our land out by putting animals on there that it can't support. And
one of the things that I'm really like, I don't even know how to like share in language, like exactly what it is.
Amy says I left for 10 minutes. I got back and you're crying.
were talking about rehoming the horses. Our dogs are fighting each other out there.
They're doing jujitsu. Tom is the vice president of Murray McMurray, who's married. But I mean, crush away. I got a crush away.
Don't be weird. It's disappointing, like, I mean, we face disappointments, but I think that in every disappointment that we face, we have an opportunity to unearth the wrong mindsets that we have about God and about us and about life. And just, I think that, like, if we're willing to confront how we actually feel in situations like this, we can find those things and we can, like, harvest those treasures out of these situations. And the thing that we really had to come to together was, like, realizing that really we didn't want to let go of what we had because we were afraid we would never have it again. And so, I mean, how many times do you come up on that in your life where it's time for change or growth or just this season to be different, and you're so afraid to let go of what you have that you don't move forward whenever you're supposed to move forward? And sometimes we're supposed to move forward even if it means letting go of what we have. And I have to, in situations like this, instead of trying to hold all the doors open that are clearly closing, and hang on to the season that I currently have, I want to grow in my faith enough to be able to let go and move forward and trust God that whatever lies in the future seasons, it's going to be his perfect will, and it's going to be precious, and it's going to be perfect. And I believe that there will be horses again.
And I'm also confident with who we sent them with that they will not end up back in the kill pen system. That was one of the biggest things, is I didn't want them going back to where we got them out of. And so I know that that's not where we're headed.
Oh, the Roaring 20s will be great. I received that.
The other pig has not had babies. We're going to get Jason at Big Bear Homestead, the pig master, to look at her through some pictures. So I will be taking pictures of a pig's hoo-ha tomorrow and sending them over to Jason.
Yes, Tammy Gear. Oh, goodness gracious. Yes, we rode the horses. It's been a little while, though, since we had. Oh, Windmill Farm. I'm so sorry to hear that, but there is definitely...
Well, I mean, he lives in Georgia, so I think it's legal.
Oh, man. I actually have been thinking about a devotion that I'm going to do soon. It's actually about something a little bit different, but I've got one on my mind. Oh, Oh, the tinker's wife. I know that you are having to go through that a lot right now. Living miracle. I love that. Making birds laugh. You come here. Say hi to everybody.
Oh, everyone's worried about you.
Hi. They were asking about how you were feeling. You want to show them your arm?
Robot arm. When we got home from the hospital, he's like, this is so hard, I could use it as a shield. When my brothers come and attack me, I could put it up so they can hit this instead. I'm like, that's not how this works.
Yeah, once that's how I was walking, I didn't actually do that.
Bye, Stivers. We love you. Okay. There you go, dude. Hey, Amy said, hey, Ezzy. Say, hey, Amy. Say, hey, just in case. Say, hey, Audrey Jane. Hey, Rai Rai. In case they're watching. Yeah.
Someone said how he heard it on a trampoline.
Yeah.
5 boys. Yeah. 1 trampoline.
Yeah. We've only ever had 2 broken bones in 14 years of parenting. We have 6 kids.
2 boys, broken bones, both trampolines.
2 broken bones, and both were on a trampoline. Hey, Heirloom Permaculture. I didn't see you guys, but I saw somebody say hello to you. Goodness, I'm having a hard time getting my... Cool, Baker's Acres. That's awesome.
Bacon seeds. Yeah.
Yeah, the people at the hospital, I remember when I took Jackson in, the hospital were like, oh, trampoline. I mean, like immediately. Apparently there's a lot. Oh, wow. Audrey has had 5 broken bones, over $40,000 on one arm. Heirloom Permaculture. That's crazy. We've only had the 2. And this one wasn't a real bad, but Jackson, when he broke his arm, which was 6 years ago, it was a bad break. Like both bones.
I'm gonna look for the picture. It's on my phone somewhere.
I can't even look at it.
Went like this.
It was so
like his arm was doing the Z.
It was so bad.
It was bad. It was gross.
I've never broken a bone before. His is not. Ezra's is not that bad. Have you broken a bone?
Never.
Really? Yeah.
I've done some crazy stuff.
I've heard a lot of stories of you like jumping off the roof and all this crazy stuff when you were a kid. Yeah, I did stupid
stuff like 20-foot jumps. We used to put mattresses down at the, like 25-foot jumps and jump off buildings and do them like we did. I should have broken something.
Mary Cody, Baker Creek is definitely a really great one to go with. I like in my garden are also just depending on, I like Wild Boar Farms for tomatoes. I have a video out that talks about different seed companies, but yeah, you can't go wrong with Baker Creek. That is so cool, Tammy Gear. That's a really cool thing. I don't know much about orthopedics, but we haven't had to deal with just a whole lot of it. But we're going to go see a specialist this week to check on his arm and seeing what they want to do with it. Just by being a boy. It's funny because Ezra is like a chronic over-explainer. And of course, whenever you take your child into the hospital with a broken bone, they have to basically they have to report it to Child Protective Services. It's just kind of like part of the process, just to make sure that there's not like repeated occurrences coming from the same house or the same family, same kid, whatever. And so Ezra is like really, okay, you can literally give him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch and be like, yeah, I fed Ezra lunch. And he'll be like, that's not what happened. And he'll go in and explain, well, what she actually did was she set this down and she did this, but I wanted this and she wanted it. And he just argues on everything and he just over explains. So Jeremiah's in there. And what happened was Ezra got on Asher's shoulders and basically they were playing monkey in the middle and Asher pushed him back, and Ezra tried to
stop his descent
by doing a handstand and broke his arm.
So I'm sitting in the ER. And, so what exactly happened? I said, I think essentially what happened is he was on his brother's shoulders, and in the process of getting down, his brother didn't help him get down. He just kind of let him down, dropped him down. And he tried to stop himself, and he broke his arm. And then Ezra looks up at him and goes, well, that's not exactly what happened.
Jeremiah's
I was like, oh, gosh.
Please don't.
So he starts telling his version of the story, which is
very much the same
yes,
thing.
But it's a lot harder to understand. He's like, I was up on his shoulders and I wanted to get down, and then I slipped, and my arms were slipping. I tried to protect myself, and I put my arms out, and
it just goes in this like super long thing.
And then every time a nurse would come in, because in the ER they just send nurses in just to check on you. So they come in and say, hey, how you doing? He'd be like, well, I was doing pretty bad about a few seconds ago. But now I'm doing pretty good. And, I'm kind of like sad that I broke my arm, but I'm also excited because I'll get special treatment. And literally just never stops talking. Like, and he's just standing there like, the nurse is like, what? And so when he finally takes a breath and the nurse gets to go out, I'd hear him. He's like, wow, that kid is a talker.
Yeah. Well, they listened to Ezra's version of events and then said.
So the nurse looked at me and said, so you fell off your brother's shoulders and hit the trampoline, broke your arm? He's like, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I said, okay.
No, they still do colorful casts. People ask. That is just the temporary cast. That was the night before Thanksgiving in the emergency room, and they did the temporary cast. It's really hard underneath, but it's like wrapped in an ace bandage, and we have to go to an orthopedic specialist this week and see if they need to put it in a permanent cast. They'll take another look at it.
I did see the X-rays. There was they couldn't see fracture because there was too much swelling, and he couldn't extend his arm. They needed it flat to X-ray. He could only get it to like right here, and so they splinted it because they couldn't tell there was a fracture, but they're pretty confident there is one.
Amy said she got a 2.5-minute story, and all she really got was handstand. That's pretty much it. He saw the X-rays, Tammy. I didn't take
Ezra saw them, but there's no visible fracture based off the X-rays they got. But it was really hard getting X-rays. Like what they did get was painful for him, and so they weren't pushing it.
Yeah. Bobblehead said it sounds like he's inheriting your great storytelling skills. They are my kids. I have some storytellers for sure.
Yeah, Ezra talks like that all the time.
And Ezra is so funny.
I'm not talking like that to make fun of him.
That's his voice.
That's actually how he talks. Like,
he has this really soft voice, and he just explains everything. He came in the other day. I bought him some comfy pants because he's one-handed, so he can't get in and out of his jeans. So I got him some comfy pants from the store. He came in, and he's so blessed by those pants. He said, "Mom, I just love these pants so much. They're the softest pants I ever had, and I just love them. And they just make me feel so comfy, and they make me feel so good." And he just loves talking about the way he feels. He's like, "And it just makes me feel so happy that you went to the store and you bought me these pants. They're so soft." And he just goes on and on about the pants. And I'm like, "Honey, I am so glad those pants are blessing your heart so much."
Okay, we can end this. I know you've asked that question a couple times. I have watched The Mandalorian. We have Verizon, so we actually got Disney Plus free for a year. So I have been watching The Mandalorian. I think it's a pretty decent show so far. I'm not like losing my mind over it like some people. If some people are losing their minds over it, they need to check themselves. It's good. It is not like crazy, mind-blowing Star Wars story. Honestly, the Clone Wars cartoons and Rebels, in my opinion, were both better shows to this point. Okay, that being said. It's interesting. I want to see where they go with it. How they finish the show will determine to me. Like I always in the first season when they're building characters, it's hard. But here's what I'm really disappointed in. You have an 8-episode, which is very small. Okay, that's a very small series for the first season. And the second season's like at least a year or more out. So it's like you get 8 episodes. You're like, okay, I can deal with that. And it's like, it's going to be on a streaming service. You're like, oh, okay, cool, streaming service. Then it's like, oh, we're going to release them one at a time. So you have to wait 8 weeks to get all the episodes. It's like, okay, I can deal with that. But then they do 32-minute episodes, and 6 of those minutes are wasted on credits and intros and recaps. And I'm like, so you get a 20-minute episode roughly, 8 of those released over 8 weeks. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, guys, it's good. It is not that good. Like, seriously, if I was paying for Disney Plus right now, I would cancel my subscription. If all I was paying for was for The Mandalorian, I would wait until it's all released, pay for it for 1 month, watch it all in one afternoon, 20-minute episodes, be done with it, and know what happened. Like, that's frustrating. If you're going to do a streaming service show and you're going to do 8 episodes, they need to be 45 minutes long at least, period. Disney, get with the program. I'm disappointed right now. But it is free, so I'm not having to deal with it.
Jeremiah has like some very sincere passion when it comes to certain things. Someone said preach by. But a lot of people are bringing up the Baby Yoda.
Yeah, they're calling it Baby Yoda because they don't know what Yoda's race is. And he's not Yoda. Yoda's not a race. That's a name. And so I'm interested to see how they develop that. Now, they can make it very cool, or they could really mess it up and make it stupid.
Mm-hmm. They could do that.
But I'll tell you right now, the cartoon series so far have been probably the best Star Wars that anyone's produced. The Clone Wars being number 1 as far as like informational, well-written stuff, and Rebels was really good too.
Someone said you were very passionate about that.
There's also talk of Ezra Bridger out of the Rebels being in the new movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah,
it's very great.
And whoever watched the most recent Mandalorian episode, did y'all catch the Easter egg to the Rebels series? Whenever the Mandalorian walked into the inn on that new planet, there was an animal sitting under a chair that was a Loth cat, which is from Lothal, which is the home planet of Ezra Bridger. So, in case you didn't catch that one, there you go.
That is really cool.
So cool. This is what I deal with every day.
Oh, hey, do you want to talk about tomato varieties? You want to talk about Brad's new stuff? The kryptonite tomato?
Sure, let's do it.
Now here's where he glazes over.
All right. I'm gonna rewatch The Mandalorian. I can do that because their episodes are so short.
Oh my gosh. What about the Disney World Star Wars Land? Somebody asked about that. Are you interested to see that?
Not really.
Really? Don't you think that would be
Maybe.
fun? Take the kids? I could get down with that.
Maybe.
Um,
Most of the time, though, I feel like a lot of the times, like they make it look really cool, and then when you get there, it's like less cool than it actually looks. So I don't know. Maybe.
yeah. I don't know.
Okay, Tammy, send me some photos of how actually it looks, not just what they're making it look like in a commercial. So we'll see.
Oh, all right, guys.
But if I could go anywhere to nerd out and like visit a place, I would go to New Zealand and spend a week there visiting the different places and sets that they've built for Lord of the Rings.
He's actually talked about that for a long time.
To me, that would be more immersive and honestly just like once in a lifetime experience than a theme park. But the Star Wars place does seem pretty cool. Maybe.
Big Bear said, I will find out Friday if I'm going to the Skywalker Ranch.
Yeah, he's got some friend
That's cool.
that he's got some hookup going to Skywalker Ranch, which is like the ranch out in California where Lucas lives. He farms and stuff, makes wine.
What is the best variety of tomatoes for canning salsa and spaghetti? We don't eat tomatoes fresh. You know, I've mostly just grown slicers, and I just can all of those. However, the Italian heirloom for the seeds are from Fruition Seeds. That's a really, really good one for canning. It's super meaty. Any of the ox hearts are really good. Amish paste. Any of those like real meaty pasty tomatoes are really good. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Our kids have been really patient, but we don't like to leave them. We let them watch a movie while we do live, but we don't like to.
I think they're watching Polar Express.
Oh, without me?
It won't be the only time you put it on.
Oh, all right, guys. We appreciate you. We love you. Okay, Jennifer Wong, you keep asking about the weed cloth. I actually only used that stuff for 1 year. I don't know what the ounce was. It was
Whatever you get at Sam's.
No. Oh, you mean underneath?
Underneath the raised beds.
I don't. Yeah, whatever that is from Sam's Club. The stuff that we put on top was like that.
Stuff we got off of Amazon.
We got it off Amazon, and it's the stuff the water could go through, but I didn't end up using that again. For the most part, we just used mulch. So,
but when we built the beds, we did put a
weed cloth
underneath, but it's whatever we got from Sam's Club. So I don't know exactly what the details were. It was $60.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Good night.
May the force be with you.